I want to begin by planting a seed in your mind, a seed so small it might go unnoticed at first, yet so powerful that it has the potential to grow into a forest that changes everything in your life. The scripture reminds us that the harvest is always bigger than the seed, but only if the seed is planted. So often, we long for change, for breakthroughs, for something to transform our circumstances, but we hesitate to plant the seed, the initial action, the decision, the acceptance of responsibility that starts the growth. Maybe you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed by the conflicting advice out there, the noise of self-help gurus, the failures you've faced trying to change. You long for a clear, proven message that can cut through the confusion and show you a path forward. Well, I'm here to tell you that such a message exists, and it has already changed over 20 million lives. It's simple, yet profound. It doesn't require magic or special favor. It requires a willingness to face the truth about yourself and your role in shaping your destiny. So here's the question I want you to wrestle with today. Are you willing to plant the seed of personal responsibility, even if it means changing how you see your past, your present, and your future? Because the harvest, the life you want, the freedom you crave, the success that seems out of reach depends on that one decision. If you're ready to hear the advice that has changed millions, then stay with me. Together, we'll uncover the law that governs true transformation and how you can begin living it today. At the heart of the advice that changed 20 million lives lies a simple, unshakable law, the law of personal responsibility. It's the principle that you must take full ownership of your life and your results. You are the captain of your ship, the master of your fate. This law says that no matter what external circumstances you face, no matter what obstacles or setbacks come your way, the power to change your course lies within you. To live by this law means to stop blaming others, stop making excuses, and stop playing the victim. Instead, it means embracing the truth that your decisions, your habits, your mindset, these shape your destiny far more than luck, environment, or inherited advantages ever will. Many people today are caught in a culture of blame and entitlement. They look outward for answers, saying, if only, or they should have, or the system is against me. But the 1% reject this mentality because they know it leads nowhere. The Bible makes it clear. Each will be recompensed according to their deeds. This is personal accountability, a call to face your own hand in the shaping of your life. It's not a punishment, it's an empowerment. It's the realization that God has given you the gift of free will and the responsibility to steward your life with wisdom and courage. Imagine you're steering a ship through stormy seas. You cannot control the weather, the waves, or the winds, but you can control how you navigate. You decide when to tack, when to hold steady, and when to adjust your sails. To blame the storm is to give away your power. To take responsibility for your steering is to claim it. The 1% are those who have learned to master their steering, no matter the weather. They know that smooth seas don't make skilled sailors. Tough storms do. Taking personal responsibility is the foundation upon which all other success is built. Without it, no amount of motivation, education, or opportunity can carry you forward. It's the point where most people falter, caught between the desire to change and the fear of owning their power. But when you cross that threshold, when you decide that you are responsible for your results, you open the door to transformation on a scale you never imagined. So as we move forward, keep this law at the center of your mind. It is the seed from which the forest grows. Embrace it. And you begin a journey that thousands have taken before you, a journey from helplessness to mastery, from drifting to direction, from wishing to winning. One of the biggest misunderstandings about personal responsibility is that it's a heavy burden, a chain that shackles you to guilt, pressure, and endless obligations. Many hear the word responsibility and imagine a life of hardship, a constant weighing down by demands they never wanted. This misconception is understandable because for some, responsibility has been framed as punishment, as the price to pay for mistakes or failures. But here's the truth, the 1% know, and what you need to hear now. Responsibility, properly understood, is not a burden. It is the gateway to freedom. Imagine two people facing a broken down car on a deserted road. One person feels crushed by the situation, overwhelmed by the inconvenience, and chooses to sit and wait for someone else to come to their rescue. The other sees the same car but immediately reaches for the tools, rolls up their sleeves, and takes charge of the situation. That second person might have to work hard, get dirty, and face setbacks. But in doing so, they reclaim control over their journey. They are no longer at the mercy of chance or other people's schedules. That is the freedom responsibility buys you the freedom to decide your response, to shape your circumstances, and to build your path forward. Responsibility gives you the steering wheel instead of leaving you a passenger in your own life. You may not control every circumstance, no one does, but you do control how you respond. That control is power. It is the power to choose, to act, to change. The 1% live by this power every day, not because it's easy, but because it is real. They know that freedom without responsibility is illusion. You can't have a ship without a captain, and you can't have freedom without stewardship. The chains you've been imagining are actually lies told by fear. They keep you small, passive, and waiting. But responsibility, when embraced, breaks those chains and gives you wings. It turns obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and limits into challenges to overcome. The key is to shift your perspective. Responsibility is not a punishment handed down, but a gift, given the gift of agency, of influence, of growth. So when you feel overwhelmed by responsibility, remember this metaphor. It is not chains binding you to a burden, but the steering wheel giving you direction. And if you take hold of that wheel, you begin the journey toward the life you truly want, a journey the 1% have been on for decades, and one that you can start today. Another common misunderstanding that keeps people from embracing personal responsibility is the fear that it means going it alone, that accepting responsibility means facing every challenge, every decision, every consequence without support or help. This fear is deeply human. We were not designed to walk through life in isolation. Yet many imagine responsibility as a lonely burden, a weight to carry on their own shoulders. But nothing could be further from the truth. In reality, taking responsibility means stepping into a role where you are the pilot of your life, but you're also part of a crew, a team, a community that supports and amplifies your efforts. Think of a pilot flying a plane. The pilot is ultimately responsible for the flight, the course, the safety, the arrival. But the pilot never flies alone. There's a co-pilot, flight attendants, ground control, mechanics, a whole network working together to ensure the journey's success. Responsibility isn't about isolation. It's about leadership and stewardship within a system. The 1% understand this deeply. They build strong networks, cultivate mentors, delegate wisely, and surround themselves with people whose strengths complement their own. Their responsibility is carried not by their shoulders alone, but by the strength of their associations and alliances. Fear of loneliness leads many to avoid responsibility, hoping that if they don't claim the reins, someone else will. But that hope is false security. Responsibility, when embraced, connects you more deeply to those who can help you grow and succeed. It calls you to lead and to serve, to be accountable not just to yourself, but to others who rely on you and whose support you rely upon in return. It is a dynamic, reciprocal relationship, not a solitary endeavor. This truth changes everything about how you see responsibility. It becomes less of a heavy load and more of a role that invites collaboration, growth, and shared success. The 1% do not see responsibility as punishment, nor do they see it as a solo mission. They see it as stewardship, managing their own talents, time, and resources well, while also building and leveraging relationships that multiply their impact. If you've been afraid that taking responsibility means going it alone, let that fear go now. Step into your role as pilot with confidence, knowing that you are surrounded by a capable crew mentors who guide you, peers who challenge you, and allies who support you. Responsibility is a call to leadership, not loneliness. And when you live it that way, you become unstoppable. Now that we understand the law of personal responsibility and have dismantled common misconceptions about it, let me take you on a journey through the lives of millions who have embraced this principle and experienced transformation on a scale few imagined possible. The advice that changed 20 million lives is not just a theory, it's a living, breathing force that has sparked incredible breakthroughs in ordinary people willing to take the reins of their destiny. Their stories are the proof, the living testimony that responsibility is the gateway to change. Imagine a single spark landing in a dry forest. That spark, tiny and seemingly insignificant, can ignite a wildfire that sweeps through acres and reshapes the landscape. Similarly, the decision to take full responsibility for one's life, to stop blaming, to stop waiting, and to start acting can ignite a fire within that burns away old limitations and fuels new possibilities. People who once felt powerless, stuck, or resigned now find themselves standing on mountains they never thought they could climb. These are not extraordinary people by birth. They are ordinary people by choice. Consider the story of a man who struggled for years in a dead-end job, feeling like the world was passing him by. One day, he came across this very advice that he alone was responsible for changing his circumstances. It was a heavy truth to accept, but it gave him a new kind of freedom. He began to change his mindset, set small goals, and take consistent action. Within a few years, he was running his own successful business, providing for his family, and mentoring others. His transformation wasn't fast or flashy, it was steady, relentless, and fueled by responsibility. Or think of a woman who faced hardship after hardship, from financial struggles to personal loss. Instead of surrendering to despair, she chose to own her role in her future. She developed a personal philosophy rooted in discipline, growth, and service. She took responsibility for her education, her health, and her relationships. Over time, her life blossomed into one of impact and abundance, not because fate favored her, but because she chose to take charge. These stories multiply every day. Millions across the globe have heard this advice and used it as a foundation to rebuild their lives from the inside out. Like a single spark that ignites a wildfire. The law of personal responsibility has fueled movements of growth and success, changing families, communities, and even nations. The power of this transformation lies not in luck, talent, or external conditions, but in the recognition that you hold the key. When you stop waiting for others to solve your problems, when you stop blaming circumstances, and when you begin to act as the captain of your own ship, you tap into a force that no one can take away from you. This is the law in motion, and it is waiting for you to step into it. As you reflect on these stories, remember that the same law that changed millions can change you. It starts with a decision, followed by consistent, disciplined action. And as you embrace responsibility, you will begin to see opportunities and results that once seemed impossible. The journey of transformation is open to all who are willing to own it. Transformation doesn't come from ideas alone, it comes from action. Knowing that personal responsibility is the foundation of change is one thing. Living it daily is another. This is why applying the advice to daily life is crucial. The 20 million lives transformed by this principle were changed not just by hearing it, but by integrating it into their routines, their decisions, their very way of being. Personal responsibility is a choice you make every day, moment by moment, and the small daily acts build the life you want, as surely as the architect lays brick after brick. To start, build a habit of daily reflection. Each morning, ask yourself, what am I responsible for today? What can I do, no matter how small, that moves me closer to my goals? This simple practice centers your mind on your power to act, rather than on obstacles or excuses. In the evening, reflect on what you accomplished and where you fell short, not to punish yourself, but to learn and improve. This cycle of reflection and adjustment is how growth becomes consistent and unstoppable. Next, create accountability, whether through a journal, a trusted friend, or a mentor. Responsibility is not about isolation. It thrives in relationship. Sharing your goals and progress invites encouragement and honest feedback. It's the pilot flying with a co-pilot and crew. You hold the helm, but you don't navigate alone. Accountability partners help you stay on course when the winds of distraction blow strong. Goal setting is another powerful tool. Write down clear, measurable goals that align with your vision. Break them into manageable steps and schedule time to work on them daily. The 1% treat goals like contracts with themselves, non-negotiable agreements that they revisit, revise, and recommit to regularly. This structure transforms vague intentions into concrete results. Building a personal philosophy aligned with responsibility means internalizing the idea that your life is yours to shape. It means rejecting victimhood and embracing the role of creator. This philosophy guides your choices, fuels your motivation, and steadies you in moments of doubt. As you live this philosophy daily, you'll find yourself making decisions that honor your potential rather than your fears. Think of applying responsibility as planting seeds in a well-tended garden. Each act of ownership, each commitment kept, each choice made with intention is a seed. With time, care, and consistency, those seeds sprout, grow, and bear fruit, a harvest of confidence, opportunity, and fulfillment. Remember, taking responsibility is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey. Every day presents new challenges and new opportunities to choose your response. When you live this way, you move beyond wishing for change to creating it. And that is the advice that has changed millions of lives. It's not just a message to hear, but a life to live. Now that you understand the power and the principle of personal responsibility, the question becomes, what are you going to do with this knowledge? The difference between knowing and becoming lies in action, decisive, consistent action. I challenge you right now to make a commitment. Choose one area of your life where you've been waiting for change, hoping for a breakthrough, or blaming outside circumstances, and take ownership. Make one tangible, measurable decision that you will follow through on within the next 24 hours. This might be as simple as setting a daily goal and writing it down tonight. It might be scheduling time tomorrow morning to plan your week or deciding to have an honest conversation with someone you've been avoiding. It could be committing to a new habit, like waking up earlier or spending time in study. Whatever it is, make it clear, make it actionable, and most importantly, make it non-negotiable. The 1% don't wait for motivation or perfect conditions. They act now, knowing that momentum is built by the first step. Taking responsibility means you own the outcome of this decision, whether it's easy or hard, successful or a struggle. But it also means you claim the power to influence that outcome with every choice you make thereafter. It is the first stone laid in the foundation of the life you want to build. When you act today, you send a signal to your mind, your spirit, and even your circumstances that you are serious, that you are no longer willing to drift or blame, but ready to lead your own life. Remember, change is never accidental. It is the product of decisions made repeatedly, deliberately, and with conviction. The advice that changed 20 million lives is available to you, but only if you claim it with action. So now, before the moment passes, make your choice, take your step, and prove to yourself that you can live by the law of personal responsibility. Because the moment you do, you will begin to see the harvest start to grow in ways you never thought possible. As we bring this message to a close, I want to leave you with a final charge, a call to stand firm and move forward with confidence. You have been given a powerful truth, that the advice which has transformed millions of lives is not some distant, unattainable secret, but a law accessible to you right now. The law of personal responsibility is the master key that unlocks doors to freedom, success, and fulfillment. But keys do not turn themselves. The difference between those who live in abundance and those who struggle lies in whether they choose to pick up the key and use it day after day, moment after moment. Picture yourself holding that key today. It is heavy with potential, the potential to steer your life away from blame, excuses, and drift, and toward ownership, action, and growth. The hand that holds it is your own. The direction you choose is yours. The responsibility is yours. And with that responsibility comes the freedom to become the person you were meant to be, to build the life you desire, and to leave a legacy that outlasts you. Remember the metaphor of the ship's captain steering through stormy seas. The weather will not always be kind. The waves will batter, the winds will howl, and the course will be challenging. But the captain who claims responsibility, who studies the stars, adjusts the sails, and holds firm to the wheel, reaches the harbor. So must you. The storms will come, but they cannot defeat you if you choose to steer with steady hands and clear eyes. I urge you, do not let this moment pass into another day of regret or drift. Let this be the day you declare yourself the master of your fate. The advice that changed 20 million lives is your invitation to step into your power, claim your freedom, and live intentionally. The law is simple, the path is clear, and the choice is yours. Choose responsibility, choose growth, choose action, and watch as your life transforms in ways beyond what you've imagined. Go now, hold the key tightly, and unlock your future.